6:02 p.m. We will first move into the University Land Acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire occupies the sacred and ancestral lands of Indigenous peoples. We honor the land of the Ojibwa and Dakota Nations. We will now move to our Student Senate Military Acknowledgement. We acknowledge the sacrifices made by those who protect the physical and diplomatic safety of United States citizens and our affiliates. We thank military service members for their commitment to our country. We will now move into roll call. Is the parliamentarian willing to call the roll?
Yes. Director Emerson.
Here.
Director Keller.
Here.
Director Shepard.
Here.
Director Etzler.
Here.
Director Schulte.
Here.
Director Byrne.
Here.
Director Schaffman.
Here.
Director Berg.
Here.
Coordinator Clay.
Here.
Senator Campbell.
Here.
Senator Vernandez Villa.
Here.
Senator Joel Henry. Senator Lee.
Here.
Senator Pillsbury.
Here.
Senator Saravana. Senator Zapp.
Here.
Senator Mapes.
Here.
Senator Christ.
Here.
Senator Daniel.
Here.
Senator Dunlap.
Here.
Senator Ebert.
Here.
Senator Feltes.
Here.
Senator Garrison. Senator Heverin.
Here.
Senator Hirata.
Here.
Senator Miller. Senator Moffett. Senator Nelson.
Here.
Senator Peckham.
Here.
Senator Rajinic. Senator Yonke. Senator Vollmer.
Here.
And President Heverin.
Here. We will now move into a presentation from Jeremy Greger on the Eau Claire City Council elections. Please come to the stand.
Thank you so much, President Heverin. Should I go up here?
Yeah.
or-
You can just go.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy Gregerts. I am a graduate of UW Eau Claire, 2005. I moved here in the year 2000 from Stillwater, Minnesota. I served on the city council from 2018 to 2024, representing kind of the campus area. I was in the 3rd Ward area, but I didn't run again in 2024 because I purchased a home on the west side of Eau Claire and couldn't run again in that district. And I'm reaching out to y'all because I'm on the ballot April 7th running for Eau Claire City Council President. And we're like really the only city in the state that where the public actually gets to elect the council president. Typically, the members of the council choose among their members who is going to be the president. So we don't have a mayor in Eau Claire, as probably all of you know. So it's kind of like the highest elected position in the city, and the city council hires a city manager to run the day-to-day operations of the city. So I had 6 years experience on the council, and I'm excited to get back on there. And just kind of wanted to introduce myself to everybody. On that election, as many of you probably know, you'll also see Wisconsin Supreme Court is on the ballot. All the county board seats in the whole state are actually on the ballot, and then a bunch of school board seats as well. So there's a lot coming up in the spring election. So I was actually a student senator back in the day in the 49th session. So that was over 20 years ago or so. And I just, I partly reaching out because whether I win this election or not, I'd like to be a resource for you. As someone who knows some of the history, and some of the things that we tried to do and maybe didn't succeed, or maybe we had some successes along the way. I would say one of the big successes that I'm excited about, and is continuing to pay dividends, is the students forming the Student Office of Sustainability, and creating that green fund that made it happen. And I was able to speak at their meeting like a month ago, kind of more on the side of my work, my day job as Citizen Action in Wisconsin, where I work on climate change. And the city of Eau Claire has really kind of taken, tried to take a leadership role on tackling climate change, along with the university and the county and the school district. And we formed a 100% renewable energy goal around the time that I was elected to the council. And it's been, it's really something that I feel like the university and the city can work together on. And it's, when I was on the Student Senate, we passed a resolution called In Support of a Green Campus, where we started to lay out, some of these ideas, but really students later on, took some amazing leadership to form SOS, and so that's something I want to acknowledge. After I graduated, I was able to, serve in AmeriCorps as through that national service program, and that's what got me involved in the city and involved in public transit, involved in community gardens, involved in literacy and food insecurity issues. And these are all things that you guys grapple with as well as students, and so just interested in being an ally and working together on that. So I'm kind of warm here because it is warm in here. And I just rode my bicycle from downtown, and I actually found that the bike trails were so full of people. I know it's kind of hard to get stuck inside right now on a nice day, but I had to ride on the road because I couldn't really get here fast enough on the trails. So the bike trails have been something I've worked on a lot, and our public transit system, and just making our city more bike and pedestrian friendly has been a big focus and something that I hear from students about a lot. So just thought I would reach out about some of those issues, and I do have some business cards that I can pass around just so you have a way of getting in touch with me. Just really wanted to thank you for the work that you do to stand up for your fellow students and for your university, whether that be on the local level or internally, or really on the state level as well, because I think we all need to advocate for ourselves on the state and federal level as well, and the city can really be a partner in doing that. Thank you for having me, and if there's time for questions, I'm happy to take questions, or if you have ideas about how to improve the city, or how the city and the university can work together. I'm happy to kind of be a connection for you.
Are there any questions for that presentation? Any questions? Senator Nelson.
Where my mic person at? Can I have my mic person? Thank you.
Where's the police?
I should be able to do it from
Please.
here.
No.
You
You
said-
gotta be official. Give me a second, I'm coming.
I'm not running away from this. Understandable. First off, I'd like to thank you for that presentation. One thing I've been looking at, especially for a community service-based learning initiative that I want to do, is trying to get more awareness out about how to notice if someone may have had their drink spiked, especially with college students. That's a big thing that we're kind of aware of and trying to work on. Is there a way that we could get maybe a public representative who has more knowledge on that to discuss this type of an initiative, to add it to maybe Blue Gold Week when they first come to campus, as well as how to help someone who may have had that issue happen and how to keep them stable until EMS arrives?
Yeah, do you want me to answer that immediately? I'm happy to answer that question. Yeah, so basically, I could see some really good people being, from our police department, for example, or and also from our health department. I can contact Lisa Easy, who's the health department director, and see who she would feel would be good. Because there's certain ways that the city tries to have the highest standards as possible with our local establishments in terms of how they're treating people and how they also regulate their establishments so that folks that are visiting their establishments are treating each other in the best possible way. And that's a disturbing thing to hear about, and obviously it's not completely new to me. I think it's something that I could certainly help you connect, and I'm sure the Dean of Students would have an interest in helping to make those connections as well. So.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Senator Bates.
You guys shouldn't have volunteered for this.
That's an intergovernmental affairs role.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I saw you once before from SOS.
Oh, yeah.
One of my questions, I don't want to say it's a problem, because just like the homeless population in Eau Claire, I think is a big prevalent thing. And I know like with the closing of shelters or like getting homeless people from other like counties and stuff, I was just wondering like what you know or like what you plan to do about the homeless population in Eau Claire.
Sure, thanks for that question. Yeah, one of the big things that I focused on when I got on council was like helping people who are experiencing homelessness find, resources and a place that they can go that is safe, whether that be during the nighttime or the daytime. And the real gap, was that existed around the time that I started on council was the daytime. And so like the Day Resource Center was just opened in late December, and that, that's something that the city was an early like funder of at $500,000 of ARPA money, which was that American Rescue Plan Act money. So we had some flexibility to be able to have that seed money, and now there's a fundraising effort to like make sure the Day Resource Center can continue, but it is open now, and like there are between 80 and 110 people that go there every day, to find job opportunities or find a place to take a shower and like super basic needs related things, but helping them kind of get off their feet and find opportunity. And so I think that has helped. I think there's a lot more that we need to do, and particularly just getting people into housing as opposed to just kind of that gap of like, hey, during the day, like when people are staying at a shelter at night, they need a place to go. So there's kind of those, and there's organizations like Home for Good that I actually share an office with them, and like and they're doing amazing work to like particularly house families right now, which are really the most vulnerable folks right now, because there are kids involved. But yeah, like making sure that we're leveraging kind of those public and private, partnerships that can make sure we're really focused on that housing first piece, because ultimately, people can't really have their other needs met or like get themselves in a good spot to like find a job if they don't have a place to live in the first place. But so yeah, I mean, obviously I could go into a lot of detail on that, but I feel like that Day Resource Center was a big win, and we just gotta make sure we're kind of tackling the other pieces of the puzzle.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Senator Volmer.
Howdy. So, as the Student Senate, we are trying to find a way to best represent the students of Eau Claire and help ourselves get to a better spot at the university. But one of the best ways to do that is by finding our place within the city as well. After the election ends, do you know of any ways that either the Student Senate and City Council either could work together or just show support for each other?
Yeah, certainly one of the things that we've opened up opportunities for as a city on our boards, committees, and commissions are like specific seats that are meant to be held by students, or students that have, or just people that have lived experience in particular areas, like people that have lived or currently live in rental housing, serving on our Housing Opportunities Commission, for example. But our Transit Commission, we've created a specific seat for a UW Eau Claire student, partly because you have, you pay in a lot of your student fees toward the public transit system, so that it's free for you to use, and that you have extra service, like routes 9 and 19. So there's these ways that it's really obvious, like that we need that campus connection, specifically to students. We really need it in every aspect of our boards, committees, and commissions. Any student can apply for any of those seats. So you can look that up on the city website. If you type in City Eau Claire Boards, Committees, and Commissions, and you can apply to serve on the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, for example, or the Waterways and Parks Commission, or the Planning Commission. So those are like kind of more formal ways to be involved. But I just left from City Hall. There's a meeting going on right now at the City Council, and I'll be running back there again, where there's all these public hearings on different specific items, and I'm happy to help flag things. And it's like, students, especially Student Senate or something, may have particular interest in this topic, and I should give you an extra heads up about it. And then we always have a public comment period at the end of the Monday night council meetings where you can come and speak about any topic. And it's really meant for items that are not already on the agenda or maybe on the agenda the next day that don't already have their own standalone public hearing. So you can like show up at a council meeting and just share an idea or introduce yourself as like a student that is majoring in like chemistry and like, hey, how can I get involved and help use my degree and do you even know of any internships? You know, you could like literally come and speak about anything, and that does happen. So we created that public comment period when I was on council because we wanted to create that space and that opportunity for action. And we can think of a lot more ideas, but we probably shouldn't take all your time.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Director Emerson?
I know you just kind of touched on some of this, but what are some initiatives that you're running on that will have an impact for the student body?
Yeah, so I would say it does kind of come down to answering Senator Vollmer's question a little bit in more detail because I did think it opens up even more possibilities. I plan to hold office hours and I plan to host roundtables around specific issues as council president. And I think I would be particularly adept, I guess, at finding some issues that students really want to be a part of in terms of those conversations. So it could be like, hey, what do people think about the safety of State Street? You know, like, or like, how can we improve that? And we could have like a roundtable about that, where it includes the community, it includes the campus representation, and you know, so we can like work together on figuring out what those priorities are, rather than me just saying, you know, these are like my top 3 things, because I think we can create more spaces for finding solutions or like identifying problems and solutions. So, but really, like, one of my top issues is, you know, right now the city is, you know, facing some tough challenges in the budget. So one of my big things really is like advocating for ourselves on the state level for more shared revenue, more fairness in terms of like how we, you know, what local control we have. For example, like when I was on Student Senate, we pushed the city of Eau Claire to pass a minimum wage increase. It was $5.15 an hour at that time. It hasn't gone up all that much since then, unfortunately. It hasn't gone up since 2009. But when we did that, we actually convinced the city council to increase it. And but then the state took the right away from cities to increase the minimum wage. So we lost local control on that. We need to kind of continue to push the envelope, especially if we have a different legislature that's maybe a bit more friendly to cities. We can like push for things like having a higher statewide minimum wage, because that'll help everybody meet their needs and be treated fairly in their jobs. So I'm not afraid to like use the power of the city as the 7th largest city in the state to like advocate for things like, well, we got this science building like because of that the city and the Chamber of Commerce and other groups, not just the campus community advocating for it. We got it because it was really a regional effort, and there's all sorts of other things like that. This university needs a lot more funding to be able to continue to provide you know, a quality education. So I'm interested in, you know, making sure the city is an advocate and that we're organizing together and building power together to be able to improve people's lives, and that's really my focus.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Director Chapman?
Hello, I just want to first say thank you for coming in and speaking with us tonight, as well as that individualized reach out to SOS,
Sure.
our commission, to speak with us to kind of about sustainable changes and updates to our city and future ideas. You may have just answered my question in this previous question, but is there an initiative, sustainability related or not, that you're most passionate to continue, change, or start anew?
So specifically on sustainability, you asked? Or?
Not necessarily,
Yeah.
just a passion of yours.
Yeah. Well, since you're asking it, I am going to focus on that sustainability piece. Just because, I mean, one of the examples that I think is another kind of win that we got, you know, because the city worked with the campus community and the passions of students was, you know, the Sonotech Center being a really good example of a more sustainable design building in terms of energy. What the city was actually approached about, you know, being a partner for creating a tax incremental district, which gets complicated to describe, but basically the city, you know, was asked to like make an investment in the area around the Sonotech Center to upgrade the infrastructure so that it could be built upon. Also like contributing some money toward the building so it could be used by the broader community for more than just sporting related events, so it could be like a community event space too. But like, so I was open to that as a council member, and the council was open to that as well. But we wanted to put some negotiating points in there, and one of them was really, we know that the students really want to see a LEED certified building, you know, and one that is maybe even net zero energy building. So we were like, well, we'll put money toward it if you can achieve that, and like, the university really stepped up, and the foundation really stepped up, and the students really stepped up to like make that happen. And I want to continue to do that with other building projects, or you know, if you know, sometimes if a new industry wants to come to town, or a new apartment building, you know, is proposed, like we can negotiate for affordability for housing if it's city-owned land or if it's in a tax incremental district. And we've done that before, but I want to continue to push on that because we do have leverage, you know, and especially if we work together on, you know, challenging each other to do better. So yeah, I just like to try to bring in these little examples, I guess.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Director Campbell?
I first wanted to say thank you for coming in for speaking today. I was just wondering, what are some initiatives you are planning to increase the safety for residents when walking home at night, especially near campus? I have met many women and or people who feel unsafe or uncomfortable walking home alone at night, especially being a student who works a late night job. It creates barriers to have to Uber home due to the uncertainty of the safety when walking home alone.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's been an ongoing, you know, concern, and I mean, a big piece of it is, you know, working with our engineering department and our police departments, you know, at the city to make sure that we have, you know, the police department has a certain amount of resources to like be out and aware of certain places that are like more unsafe than others, but then engineering, you know, is providing lighting and like design of our streets and our trails and our parks and everything. There's a lot of ways just from a design perspective to be really, to prevent, you know, dangerous, you know, spaces. And, but really one of the cool things that Student Senate has done over the years that I'll be encouraging city staff and my fellow council members, if I am elected, and I'll probably show up whether I'm on council or not, are these walkthroughs of the area around campus that, you know, typically are scheduled once or twice a year, where we kind of dig into like like some of the realities of it, where we like go out in a group to look at issues, and some of them are, you know, related to you know, traffic safety as well, but really I think just going out and you know, understanding like people's different perspectives on it, I need to be made aware of, you know, situations, you know, because I don't have the same lived experience, and I need to like be exposed to like what challenges people are facing, and so I need to make sure the council and city staff and university staff are aware too, and like have it top of mind. And that the same is true for like, what is the experience for students with physical disabilities, like getting to around campus or to and from campus. So it's really, so having that experience as a student and someone who's lived in neighborhoods around campus for 20 years, 25 years, like, it gives me a clue, but I still can't claim I'm an expert, but like, so just, I'm happy to help in any way I can, and I do recognize that as a major concern. I think our public transit system is a big piece of the puzzle as well, and making sure that there is evening service for students, and I've been a big advocate for that for a long time, and I was a transit rider myself, so that's a piece of the puzzle too. So, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
With that, we have exhausted our question and answer period. Is there a motion to rescind?
As is. By how much?
5 minutes. Please raise your flag. And opposed? And abstain? With that, we'll jump right back in with Senator Feltes.
Hello, thank you so much for coming in. I'm from Eau Claire. I was born here, so it's really nice to see other people who are really excited about like talking about and like being involved in like the government here. But I was wondering, as someone who was born here and raised here, what more are you doing to like expand low-income housing? Because I know that's like a big issue with why like the gap between like homelessness and like getting into that area is like so difficult is because there's not a lot of low-income housing. Is there like anything you have? I know you spoke a little bit about it, but like anything you could do for it more?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we were able to do when I got on council is we encouraged developers and supported developers with applying for low-income housing tax credits, which is referred to as a LIHTC project. We got 2 of those in like within 6 years, and we're encouraging several others actively right now. So those, you can actually guarantee a level of affordability in a new building, and that a relatively significant, like, so for example, you could have it be 40% or 60% of county median income would be, people would be qualified if they make less than that percentage. But really, a lot of these income guidelines are pretty archaic at this point in terms of how the reality on the ground is for people, particularly for students, too. So a lot of it is that it's really hard to build a new building with labor and material costs and land costs that we have to be truly affordable, unless you were to have really micro units or something. But I think we should have some options like that. So a lot of it actually that I'm interested in most, in terms of maybe adding to the conversation, is how do we upkeep and revitalize existing housing that has already been built and make sure it's not fully essentially decomposing. We're seeing a lot of Randall Park neighborhood. It's like in houses that I lived in 25 years ago or 20 years ago. I'm like, I can't believe that place is actually still, the people are still living in that, So I think so we need to part of it is the energy efficiency piece, and part of it is the safety piece, and just, and just how we make housing that currently exists last another 50, 100, 200 years, because a lot of it was built with pretty sizable, a lot, really, actually pretty good lumber, because it was a lumber town, right? So some of them have pretty good bones, but how do you make them more energy efficient and affordable from that perspective, and then how do you make them more healthy? Because a lot of them, there were, two people living in the rooms before, and now the custom is that most people have their own room. So, so there's not quite as many people that used to be living in these houses as they do now, and so that's one of the things that's raised the price in a way, is that people want a little bit more space now. But yeah, a lot of the challenge I think is how we deal with the existing housing and really make these neighborhoods a place that are people really can thrive in and afford at the same time. So yeah, we can't. It is important to build our way out of this problem too, just by creating more units, because then the vacancy rate may go down. It actually has because we built so many more apartments and houses and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a big topic, so sorry that I didn't really dive in as much as you would like.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And I'll just pass out my cards too, just so you have a way to get a hold of me. And I'll stick around a little bit for your meeting, but I have to get that back to the city council meeting too. So.
Moving back into the agenda, we will now move into open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Seeing none, we will now move into approving the meeting minutes from March 2nd. Are there any amendments or corrections to last week's meeting minutes? Seeing none, we will now move into reports, beginning with the president. Good evening, everyone. This past week, I chaired the Davies Advisory Council along with Internal Affairs, where we discussed bylaw revisions for chapters 3, 4, and 5. I spent much of my time going through the bylaws and preparing bills and presentations to bring forward to you all, assuming these revisions get approved through the Internal Affairs Committee in the coming weeks. I also wanted to inform you all that I will be out of the office this Thursday and Friday for the Chancellor Search and Screen interviews in Minneapolis. While I will not be in the office during this time, feel free to reach me by email at any point. And finally, I wanted to bring to your attention the currently deformed line of blue tape marking the entrance of the Senate office. This serves as a reminder not to discuss campaigning or election materials once inside the office. General procedural questions about elections are okay. However, discussing individual candidates or tickets would not be. As a reminder, if you have any questions about the election process going forward, never hesitate to reach out. That's all for now. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thank you, and I yield. Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, the report from the Vice President has been yielded to the minutes. And we will now move on to the Academic Affairs Commission report with Director Emerson.
Good evening, Blue Golds. I hope you have all had a great week and weekend. This is your formal reminder to lock in before break, as we only have days until spring break. You are all doing amazing and great, even if it seems difficult right now. In the AEC world, we've been working hard on finalizing the Spring Resource Fair. I can now announce that we are going to be in Dakota Ballroom for the event on March 25th from 11 to 1 p.m. This is due to an EPC policy with the unpredictable weather for springtime. As the graphics come out soon, please share the word to all your friends. There will be hot dogs and popcorn, first come, first serve. This week in Academic Affairs, we'll be discussing the Spring Resource Fair as well as the AI policy. I hope to see you all there in Little Niagara, Davies 211 at 12:30 p.m. If you have any questions or just want to chat, I'm around. Have a Blue-Gold-tastic week. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, the report from the Communications Commission has been yielded to the minutes. And we will now move into the Equity and Student Matters report with Director Keller.
Hola, hola, good evening, everyone. Last week, ESM co-hosted an event with SSD. We also had a meeting with Katie Bluewitz to continue our strong connections with the SSD community and further support them. I had a meeting with Colleen Marchwick regarding the hot water dispenser brought up in 69-R-11. The CIE office is on board and is willing to help us out with anything we need with the hot water dispenser, support, advocacy, even funding if needed. She has informed me that at least once a year, international students reach out to her asking if there is anywhere they can easily get hot water, so having something like this would be very beneficial to our international student population. We continue our work with the Student Office of Sustainability to get ecotherapy up and running as April is fastly approaching. Lastly, with midterms being this week and spring break next week, don't forget to take some time for yourself. Go on a walk in the beautiful weather that we're having. I hope you have May you all have a wonderful week and do amazing on your midterms. Bye.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, the report from the Information Technology Commission has been yielded to the minutes. My apologies. We will now move into the Finance Commission report with Director Shepherd.
Hello, everyone. Okay. Sure. I hope you all had a good weekend. This week we'll be reviewing some additional audit materials and continue working on improving materials for the allocation process in the fall. Additionally, we have some voting member spots open, so if you would like to get more involved with the Student Senate and care about how your money is being spent, the Finance Commission meetings on Thursdays at 5 p.m. in Council Davies 260. I hope you all have a good spring break. I do.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we will now move into the Intergovernmental Affairs report with Director Etzler.
Good evening, everyone, and happy last week of school before spring break. This past week in IGA, we continued working on our Eau Claire School Board Candidate Forum, which is formally referred to as our spring election event, so apologies for any confusion on that end. We finalized the questions we're going to be asking the candidates during the moderated portion of the event, and are going to continue ironing out the details for the event itself this Wednesday. So if you're interested in that at all, or want to know more details, we will be meeting once again in the Pine Conference Room, which is Davies 220K at 4:15, and we'll move to Bader if we have technology issues like we did last week. So I hope to see you all there, and on that note, have a great spring break, and I'll see you all when we get back. Thank you, and I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we will now move into the Student Health and Wellness report with Director Schulte.
Hello, I hope everyone had a restful weekend. Last week at SHW, we continued working on the wellness map. We are hoping to have it completed by the end of the week so we can begin phase 2. We also have started planning the spring health fair and finished the draft for the March newsletter, so keep an eye out for that this week. That's all from SHW's end. I hope everyone has a great week. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move on to the Student Office of Sustainability report with Director Schaffman.
Hello all. Last week I was down for the count being sick, but I'm back and ready to make this last week before spring break a productive one. Finalizing event dates and times for our ecotherapy event for April, with a grand total of 8 events so far. This larger proposal will be coming to SOS the week after break, along with promotional materials. SOS and ESM are excited to host this annual collaboration. SOS last week passed both proposals for the new Student Sustainability Prizes and the addition of the automated composter to the AIL/Student Senate Office Kitchenette, which will be implemented soon when the necessary supplies arrive. 2 new proposals are to be introduced tomorrow at SOS from compost expansion on Upper Campus, as well as the current dorm event, Power Down Showdown, which is an energy-saving competition between the dorms on Upper Campus, with the cost of the trophy creation for the soon-to-be annual event as well. Come see us tomorrow in Council Oak from 5 to 6 to be a part of those conversations. I hope all of you have a fantastic spring break filled with much-deserved rest. I'll be enjoying the sun and warm weather in California. That's all for me. SOS Sprout. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we will now move on to the Student Organization Commission report with Director Burnett.
Hey party people, final week before spring break, let's get it. I'm excited to report that we are in the final stages of the annual funding process. We finalized deliberations of both SOC and Finance, and we will be presenting our proposed allocation to the body tonight. Shifting gears, we will be focusing on our quickly approaching end-of-year barbecue banquet. The focus is on the importance of transition materials and celebrating student organizations and the work that they have done over the school year. If you know any officers in a student organization, please encourage them to RSVP via Blue Gold Connect Plus. This week at SOC, we will be hearing from a new student organization request, as well as planning the activities we will do at the banquet. You won't want to miss it. We will be in Little Niagara, which is Davies 211, Thursday at 4 p.m. Hope to see you there. Thank you. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move on to the University Activities Commission report with Director Berg.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's schedules are surely slowing down just in time for spring break. This week we have a couple events, so maybe you can fit those in between packing for trips. Tomorrow we have our second Tuesday trivia of the semester in the cabin, 6 to 7:30. There's a whole slew of different questions and categories, and the winning team will win a movie night themed prize basket that you can check out on UWEC involvement on Instagram. On Wednesday, we have Blues Bingo with the theme Grocery in the Cabin, 5 to 6:30 p.m. This is commonly our most popular bingo just because of the sheer number of prizes we are able to give out. On Thursday, we have the band Gap Mountain in the Cabin, 6 to 8 p.m. This might sound a little different because their original date was this past weekend, but schedule conflicts and tight connections with EPC have allowed us to move it to Thursday now. Following spring break, UAC has an event nearly every single day. I'll mention some important dates though. Thursday the 26th of March is our next special event of the semester. The event is Stuff a Plush in the Blue Gold Living Room, 11 to 2 p.m. There will be 3 different plush styles that were voted on by UAC exec, and you can even do it in between lunch and class. It'll be a stop and go kind of event, so I hope to see you there. Monday the 23rd of March, UAC applications will be opening for anyone interested in UAC chair positions. This semester, UAC is re-interviewing the entire board in preparation for responsibility changes and more hours expected to be worked for the next school year. We will have some positions opening up due to staff leaving/graduating, so those applications will be open for 4 weeks, so be on the lookout for those. UAC is definitely ramping up again, and I can't wait to share more in these coming weeks. Have a great week. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we will now move into a special report from the mascot coordinator, Coordinator Clay.
Hey guys, during the past week, I've mostly been doing some upkeep on the different seats that we had and implementing its service. Besides that, I've been conducting more and more interviews for some prospective employees. And lastly, I've been working to kind of refine the concept of what Blue Gold Fridays will look like going into the end of this semester and the start of next year. Blue has been pretty busy this past week by attending the All Majors Career Fair. Shout out to Career Services for planning the event and inviting Blue to be a part of it. Blue also had a fun time last Friday with Campus Ambassadors for Admitted Students Day. If you or any of your friends want to link up with Blue, you can find them around Davies on Friday, as well as at different sporting events once the weather starts to get nicer. As for this week, Blue will be at Blues Bingo, as always, at the cabin on Wednesdays. And just a quick reminder, as I've always said, anyone at the university or in the Eau Claire community can request Blue to appear at their events completely for free. The Blue request form can be found on Blue Connect Plus and is on the Student Senate UWEC page. And as always, if you need to find me or if you have any questions, you can just find me in the office or email me. I hope everyone has a great spring break. Thank you, and I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, the report from the housing coordinator has been yielded to the minutes. We have exhaustive reports, and we'll move into old business. Seeing as we have no old business, we will move into new business with 69-B-8, adopting the 2026-2027 Student Organization Fund allocation. Is there any author willing to introduce? Director Byrne.
Hello all, my name is Tia Byrne and I am the Student Organization Commission Director. The bill that I am presenting today is a part of our annual funding process for student organizations. All student organizations who have been active for at least a full semester are eligible to apply for funding via the Student Organization Fund. The Student Organization Fund is the amount of money SOC gets after presenting to the Finance Commission as an organized activity in the fall. As per the Finance Commission bylaws, the Student Organization Commission gets 3.3% of segregated fees based on the previous year's enrollment. This year, we are allocated a total of $41,383. Student organizations must submit a funding application via Blue Gold Connect Plus. This year, the application was open from November 1st to February 8th. The dates remain pretty much the same each year. They are asked to submit a short form along with their itemized budget template. The cap this year was $1,800. We decide the cap based on amounts that we get from previous years, but in the most recent last couple of years, it has been $1,800. From there, the student organization is emailed next steps, a funding presentation template, as well as a Sign Up Genius link for them to sign up for a time to come and present to us. Our commission heard 16 hours worth of funding presentations, followed by even more hourly deliberations. We had a great turnout of commission members present at all presentations as well as during deliberations. While I cannot go into too much detail as deliberations were done in a closed session, I can assure you that we spent a lot of time and consideration looking through all the organizations and their asks. We had a difficult decision to make as we had over $20,000 to cut, but we did so in accordance with 820 policies as well as taking into account the amount of student reach for each student organization. We had a record-breaking number of 66 student organizations apply for funding while allocating money to 57 student organizations. The discrepancy between these numbers is for a couple of reasons. One being that the organization that applied was not eligible for funding under the student organization fund. This might have been because they were a club sport and or they were a new student organization who was not active for at least that full semester before they could apply. Or another reason was the organization failed to show up for their scheduled presentation time. And lastly, the organization failed to sign up for a time to present despite the multiple follow-ups. Regardless, I am really proud of the time and effort that the commission put towards this bill. It is not an easy nor quick process. In attachment A, which is on the back of the bill, you can see the final allocation that each student organization will get. Upon passage of this bill, each organization will be notified of the amount they will receive along with what it can and cannot be used for. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have. I know this process can be long and confusing. Thank you, and I yield.
Are there any questions for that introduction? Any questions for that introduction?
Can I have a mic and a whiteboard, please?
Senator Holder.
Hey, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I was looking over the attachment of which organizations got how much funding, and as the student senate, we're a nonpartisan body, and I don't know if I'm missing it, but on here I see the college Republicans are getting funding, but the college Democrats aren't. Did one just not apply? Did the Democrats not apply for funding, or what went on there?
Yeah, so all student organizations that applied for funding and met the eligible requirements to receive funding under this fund did receive an allocation. So the college college Democrats did not submit a funding application this year, whereas the college Republicans did.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Director Emerson.
I'm just curious if this allocation that you get from the finance committee or commission, does that include for the special allocations that you're able to give out, or is that the separate allocation that you get?
That is a separate allocation, and Director Shepard can correct me if I'm wrong, but it is from the year-end balance from the year before, like the 5% of that is $5,000 of that we get from the year before.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing as that is a bill, that will be reintroduced following our return from spring break. We have exhausted new business and will move into announcements. Are there any announcements this evening? Any announcements? Director Shepard.
If you're looking for an on-campus job for next year and you're living on campus, Residence Hall Association applications are open until the 13th. If you would like more information about any of those positions, myself or the senator, we can provide more information.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Any questions? Seeing none, are there any other announcements this evening? Director Berg.
Hi there. Activities Involvement in Leadership has a couple internship opportunities open for the next school year. Those are a social media marketing intern and two graphic design interns as well. So they promote all of the UAC and AL related events, or create graphics and promote those. Those are open on Handshake
either to March 30th or 31st. I don't remember off the top of my head. But it's definitely a great place to work, and you can use it for academic internships. So like for College of Business, you're required to have an internship, and that is applicable to that as well. That is it, I yield.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Any questions? Seeing none, Director Etzler.
Okay, so I know our lovely presenter already mentioned the elections that are happening on April 7th. I won't go into too much detail on that. You'll hear from me more as we get closer, but I just wanted to bring up that the ballot for that will be available on myvote.wi.gov over spring break. It's available, I want to say 21 days before the election. I want to say that's March 17th. Don't quote me on that. But if you want to take a look at it, see who's running, what positions they're running for, so you can start looking into what their policies are and everything, which you should be doing. Yeah, okay, we all should be doing that. You can take a look at that over spring break, so that's it. I yield.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Any questions? Seeing none, are there any final announcements this evening? Seeing none, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 6:53 p.m.